Hello, people of the internet. In this video I'm going to show you how you can make your own scratch-built water tower that you can display in a diorama or use in addition to a diorama you already have. Now, this is quite a simple build. I'm going to use some materials that are easily available at your local hobby shop, I presume, and very simple tools. Now, all you need to do this build of tools, that is, you need a pair of scissors, you need a knife of some sort, preferably a quite sharp one. You might need some pliers, they're always nice to have, and then you need glue, wooden glue, or something like that. Now, that's the tools you need. In addition to that, I am going to use some popsicles, I believe they're called in English. Popsicles, is that right? They are going to be the primary material that I'm going to use for this build. In addition to that, I'm going to use some of these things that are called round rod mix. I guess you can see what that is. That's just some sort of heavy duty flower sticks or something like that. And we're going to use these as support columns. Beams, is that what you call them? I'm sorry, English isn't my first language, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. So we're just going to put these away for the moment. And that's really it, more or less. I'm going to use a couple of these things. These are 4mm, 4x4mm wooden sticks, I guess you could call them. These are also available from at least my local hobby shop, so I assume you can get them at yours as well. So let's begin the build. First I get a popsicle, which, as I said, is the primary thing we're going to use for this. But I'm sorry, bit of a lack of word. And in addition to that, I have got here an egg carton, and I'm going to use part of this egg carton as a base that the water tank is going to stand on. So we're going to cut out a piece here like this. Preferably I would have liked to have something that was as big as the popsicle, but that's where the pliers come in, obviously. You'll see what I mean. So this is going to be the foundation of my water tower. Now the next step you're going to do is take the popsicle and put them down like so, one after the other, until you completely covered the piece of cardboard or egg carton, in my case, that you got laying around. Alright, maybe one more. Like so. Oh, okay, one less. I guess this is just a demonstration. What I'm doing now. I have the complete build, and we'll get to that afterwards. So this is the first thing you start with, the platform that the water tower is going to stand on. You are going to need some support beams that you're going to spread out like this, like so. And what I would do now is get the glue and just hose this thing down, the egg carton that is, and then place these on top and let that sit for a bit. After that, once this is all in place, you can get your pliers and then trim off the edges. Maybe you can break them off so it looks a bit more like it's been worn and torn a bit, like it's been up there for a while. So the next step after that, once you've cut out the edges, it looks a bit something like this. Now, as you can see, this platform is a bit bigger. I don't measure this build in any particular way. I just make it up as I go along. I cut off the edges right here and then glued in these things, these beams that the water tank is going to stand on. And on the opposite side, here you can see the cardboard. That's from a Sherman tank crate, a box, I think. But the point of this side is that you got these beams going all the way around, and that's just to add strength and support for this. But there's also one more thing with this that we'll come back to. So now you got this thing after adding these beams on the bottom. So I'm just going to remove this. Now we got this thing. So next step is you want to build a tower that the water tank is going to stand on top of. So that's where you get these round rods. Get out a couple of them in the scale that you find looks good. And I've already used a couple of these, obviously, so I don't think I have any more of them left than the ones that I used in my primary build. But I'm going to show you the idea behind this. So this is more or less the shape that you want to go for. Then get your popsicles and start adding support beams. Now this is going to be a 2-story building, as you can see. Maybe that's a bit long. Maybe I'll just get this one on top, like so. Holy shit, this looks like more some sort of electrical post or something. But you get my drift here, what I'm trying to do. This is the sort of shape that we're after. There. Actually, I don't think that looks half bad. I'm going to adjust the camera now with my shaky hands. Like so. Now, obviously, these things, you can see these are popsicles, obviously. But what I would do is cut off the edges, maybe use the knife and trim off a couple of some of the edges, like go in here, take a chunk out, do that to the rest of the beams, and make it look more natural. Maybe get a drill and drill some holes or something. Bit around, just make it look a bit more weathered. I'm going to show you in a moment. You're going to need 2 of these things, one on each side, and then the support beams that go between these 2 main structures. This one is a bit tall. The one that I've already built ends about here, but that's up to you. I actually think this looks pretty good. So you could make a taller water tower than what I already have. But here's the structure you want to go for. Get your glue them together. I tried using some tiny nails when I built it the first time. That didn't work. Everything just well, splintered. It's too thin. I didn't get the nail through, so it just cracked everything, the wood. So now that you got the base and you got the 2 supports, then you have to put everything together like this thing. Here's the structure that I built earlier, and as you can see, it's the two main frames, this side, which is this big one here, and then there's the structural supports in between. I've used a variety of materials here. These, as you can see, these things are a bit longer than popsicles. They're not actually popsicles, these ones. There's something else I got off my hobby store. But popsicles and these things, whatever you got, it works out fine. So let me just remove this structure here to get that out of shot. And we're going to come back to this piece here. Now, this frame is also going to put it in place on top like this, so it doesn't move around all that much. Now you can of course glue this together. I haven't done that because it's easier to just disassemble it. So there's your tower, or at least the structure that the water tank is going to stand on. Now the water tank, how do you make that? That's actually how I got the inspiration for this video. I'm going to use this. It's a can of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes. And as you can see, once we get the paper off this has the potential of being quite a nice water tank, actually. Now, this thing has been it has been handled with care. There are some dents in it. It's been scratched a bit. It was in my bin, to be honest. But that's not an issue in my mind. That just looks like maybe it was close to an artillery strike at some point. Maybe someone crashed something into it. I don't know. But next step is obviously quite simple. Get the rest of your build. And ta-da! Look what you have here. It's a water tower. Doesn't take more than that. Now, obviously, you can add a ladder if you like. You can add some flags, some banners. You can make it look a bit worn, a bit tired. And you can do something about the tank, because it is just a can of chopped tomatoes at this point. You can, for instance, add on the top these. I bought these small wooden plates off my hobby store, and maybe there's a hatch on top of it, and maybe some support beams on top of that to prevent anyone from falling into it. Maybe that works. Or maybe there should be some sort of hatch here, or a straw, a pipe maybe, that you can extract water from. And maybe you need some device to open and close that. Like, for instance, this thing that I built earlier. As you can see, there's some rubble debris on top that covers the hatch, and then there's some ventilation here going on. And down here you can see this little box that's on the water tower that's been made to fit around the tank. That's just the same, these sort of plates, things that I cut into shape and glued on with a lot of glue. And then there's this chain thingy that I suppose you can use to open some valves or something to turn on the water. Maybe this could fit in a train station, on an airfield somewhere. I don't know, but at least now you do. So that's a quick tutorial how to make your own scratch built water tower. Hope you liked it. Please check out my other videos if you did, and I'll see you around later. Thanks.